Good morning, Facebook friends and family. I hope you're having a fantastic week. This week's been really busy. I did have an amazing weekend that I wanted to share with you, Saturday in particular. About a month ago, my dad invited me to an event, and I didn't know exactly what he was inviting me to. And so I accepted what he had told me. What he did tell me that he did know is that someone was going to sit down with him and let him know what happened to his father, who was missing in action in the Korean War. So my dad's dad went to war and didn't come back. And so he was 1 year old. So my dad really didn't have a relationship with his father. And when he asked me to go, I thought, wow, how exciting to get some information, because my dad knows very little. So I decided to go to the event. But I was not prepared for that day at all. I had no idea what was in store for us. So I went with my dad and his wife, and we got there, and there was a lot of people there. My dad said they anticipated about 300 participants, and there were 600 people that ended up coming. So there unfortunately were some people, I think, that they had to turn away, or maybe had a squeeze in the back, I'm not sure, but it was a packed house. And so it was put on by, I want to get the name wrong, it was put on by the Defense Prisoner of War Missing in Action Accounting Agency. And I had no idea what this is, or I never heard of the agency, but I just got some information, obviously, while I was there. And I'm going to read you what it says in their pamphlet. It says the DPAA is focused on the research, investigation, recovery, and identification of approximately 34,000 out of 83,000 missing DoD personnel believed to be recoverable who were lost in conflicts from World War II to Operation Iraq Freedom. So what happened was, we were there in the meeting. We were basically giving information about what the agency does, and everybody was given an opportunity to remember their loved ones. And so, you know, some of these families that were there, some of the people had never, ever even met the person that they were there representing. And I thought that was kind of peculiar until they told their stories. So everybody had opportunity to say, you know, the name of their loved one. And so my dad's dad is Sergeant Sostines Salazar. And so everybody had an opportunity to say who their loved ones, talk about them, and to also say what their story is, why they're there. So some of the people that are there, like I said, had never ever met whoever they were representing. There were granddaughters, grandsons, nieces and nephews that were there who had uncles and uncles that had that were missing. But the stories were just so impactful, because the people that were there that didn't know the person that passed, they were there because, for example, one lady was there, she was there to represent her uncle. She said she remembered her mom crying every night because she missed her brother. And so her mom was on a mission, you know, to find out what happened to her brother. And her mom ended up passing, and the daughter felt it was her responsibility to find out what had happened to her uncle, so that because it was so important to her mom to find out what happened. There were stories where 3 ladies were there who said that their dad was supposed to come back right before Christmas, and their dad never came home. And she said every year that they would wait at the door, that he was going to come back. And it was just story after story about people who were looking for closure to find out what happened to their loved ones. And I was just really grateful to be there, to hear people's stories, and to be there for my dad. I don't think anybody in that room didn't cry. It was really emotional. Everybody could relate to one another, that feeling of not knowing. And so, but there were success stories, of course. There were people that came who were looking for answers for years, who kept requesting for this agency to go out to a particular area to find their loved ones. So there was good stories too, good testimonies as well. But just this company, or this agency, talked about what they did. And I was just in absolute amazement. Talk about servants. They are on a mission which is our nation's promise is to find what happened to our fallen soldiers. So it was just a really, like I said, a fantastic experience, and I was just really blessed to be there and to experience that. Like I said, there was the good stories. There were people there who were reunited and found out where their loved ones were, and were able to give them a proper burial. A lot of the people there had never buried, because there were no remains, weren't able to bury their loved ones. And I think that's another part of it, to find out what happened and then be able to, I guess, close that chapter. Or everybody has a different feeling about it, but it was really, like I said, an experience I can't describe, unless you were there. But very thankful for the agency, the work that they put in, to find their, or to find people's loved ones is just incredible. Technology has come so far. I think another part of the reason they put this event on is to find the family members, to invite the family members out so they can get DNA. So obviously the DNA is not going to be an exact match of the person who's passed, unless it's obviously an identical twin. But if they have more samples than one, maybe 2 samples at least, they can narrow it down to identify them. So when my dad went, they did not have, they only had 1 sampling of DNA. So now they have a second one, which is going to help them find or make a match. So I'm excited to see what happens next. And my grandfather died in North Korea. So right now they have 2 focuses. One of them is in for the World War II people who passed or that are missing, because as time passes, the witnesses get older, right? And they're dying now. So they're like, most witnesses are in their 90s. And so once those people pass, that information's gone. So it was really interesting how they would go to an area and they basically would talk to the people. So say Vietnam, they go talk to the villagers and ask the villagers, there was a plane that went down here. Can you tell me if any of you know what happened, or do you have any information? And so, and then they say, oh, I don't know, but so-and-so knows, they'll be back in 2 days. And so they follow up on the lead. So it's a constant follow-up of leads. And so they're constantly trying to get more information, like I said, follow up on the lead and go to their next lead. And so for World War II, like I said, unfortunately, those witnesses are passing. And obviously memories go as you get older as well. So there's that. And they're also concentrating in Korea as well, because I guess in Korea, I don't know if it's north and south, but I know in Korea that they have acidic soil. So the remains, unfortunately, are being eaten up by the soil. So again, they're trying to get out there so they can gather as much as they can. Of course, our relationship with Korea is not perfect in North Korea. So there's all these things that are working against them, but they are so committed and hopeful and just on a mission, like I said, to reunite these families with the information that they need to find out what happened. And so anyways, if there's anybody who didn't know about this agency and wants more information, please send me a message. I'd love to connect with you. But just wanted to thank all the people who have served, and all the people who have lost their lives for us, for our freedom. And I just, very thankful. I'm just proud to be an American. I was really proud. I could think of a few times when I was very proud. Saturday I was very proud, and I was very proud when my sister and I went with my niece Leila. We went to Washington, D.C., and just seeing all the monuments, and just like was really proud and thankful, very thankful for the sacrifices that those men have made, and women, and thankful to the families who sacrificed. My dad told me a little story about my grandfather that he had already, he went back to serve again. And so when he was serving, he was actually 27 years old, which is older to serve. And that at that time, he already had 3 kids with my grandma. So he went obviously as a sacrifice, and for someone to see and to give up their own selves and their own family to serve so many more others. I just think it's awesome, and I don't think there's anything my grandma probably could have said to him to keep him from going. He was on a mission to go. That was what his purpose was, and so very thankful for that. So everyone have an awesome rest of the week, and I just wanted to encourage everybody to be thankful, not just for the little things, but also for the big things. So I'll see you next week. Thanks so much. Bye.